Let me move on to lesson number 2. Friends, lesson number 2 is how many ways the word can be arranged. That is in the concept called vowel should always comes together, right? So friends, similarly they will used to give a word judge, mission, sister, like that, and we need to see how many ways the word can be arranged. But they have given a condition that every word which we are going to frame where the vowel should always comes together, right? So friends, assume that they have given a word judge, right? We need to find how many ways the word judge can be arranged so that the vowel should always comes together in the each and every word that we are going to frame. So friends, first of all, let me understand what is the normal traditional method to solve this question. Then we can apply the logic of permutation for these types of question, right? So friends, they have given a word judge, and you know that U and E are vowels, right? These two letters, that is U and E, should always comes together whatever the word that you frame from the given question, right? So friends, let me frame any different way, right? U, E, J, D, G. I have just framed this word from the given question. I am saying that this word frame is in the correct format. Why? Because you know that U and E are vowels. In this word, where I can say that the vowels always comes together, right? This is one rule. So friends, there are so many possibilities. We can write this as J, U, E, D, G. I am saying that this is also in the correct format. Why? Because U and E are always comes together, right? That means the vowels always comes together. Whether this is in the correct format, friends, I am just writing a word like this: U, J, E, D, G. Whether it is a correct or wrong, whether it is in the correct format or wrong format, I can say that this is in the wrong format. Why? Because from the given question we have framed a word, but according to the condition we have not done it. Why? Because see here, U and E are not together. But in the given question they have said that the vowel should always comes together. So this is not in the correct format. So friends, there are so many different ways to write this word judge. So friends, apply the permutation concept here so that you can easily crack this question. So friends, they have given a word judge, and we need to frame how many ways the word can be arranged, that too the vowel should always comes together. So friends, there are various methods to solve this question, right? But my advice, the easiest way to solve these types of question is that just listen carefully. They have given a word judge, right? Vowel should always comes together. Step number 1, grab all the vowels, right? You know that U and E are vowels, right? So write here U and E separately and put a bracket. This is step number 1. First of all, just see how many vowels are there. Just eliminate all the vowels and place on the right hand side inside the brackets. And see what all the remaining letters are there. J, D and G, right? 3 letters are remaining. Friends, listen carefully. We can place this U, E vowel either in the front or otherwise between J and D, or between D and J, or at the last, right? Can you understand this concept? We can place this U and E, both the vowels, at the front or otherwise between J and D, or between D and G, or at the last. So how many ways we can place this U and E here, friends? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 possibilities, that is 4 factorial ways we can place this U and E. This U and E can be written as E and U also. So into 2 factorial. So finally the answer is 4 factorial into 2 factorial, right? So let me move on to some of the examples so that you can able to understand the concept of this question clearly, right? Second, mission. So friends, they have given a word mission. How many ways the word mission can be arranged so that the vowel should always comes together? Step number 1, always see how many vowels are there in a given word and place all the vowels inside the bracket at the right hand side. So see here, friends, A is a vowel, I is a vowel and E is a vowel. Initially place A, I, E and place it inside a bracket, right? And write the remaining letters, that is M, C, H, N. We can place this A, I, E in the front or otherwise between M and C, or between C and H, or between H and N, or at the last. See how many places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in this 5 places, that is 5 factorial ways, we can place this A, I, E. So friends, this A, I, E can be written as I, E, A or E, A, I. So this is written as 3 factorial. So the answer is 5 factorial into 3 factorial. right? So let me move on to the second example. The word is learn. How many ways the word learn can be arranged so that the vowel should always comes together, right? Okay, see how many vowels are there. We can say that E is a vowel and A is a vowel. So initially place this E and A inside a bracket at the right hand side and write the remaining letters, that is L, R and N. We can place E and A here, or otherwise between L and R, or between R and N, and at the last. See how many places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 factorial ways we can place this E and A, and you know that this E and A can be written as A and E also, so into 2 factorial. So the answer is 4 factorial into 2 factorial. So friends, let me see some other examples, right? Okay, I think I can rub this. So we can write any word, education, right? So we can write this as education. Okay, how many ways the word education can be arranged so that the vowel should always comes together, right? See what all the vowels are there? A, I, O, U, right? So first of all write A, I, O, U inside the bracket and write the remaining letters. Oh, E is also a vowel, right? So A, E, I, O, U, all the vowels are here. Okay, write the remaining letter, friends. D, C, T, N. So we can place all the vowels at the front, or otherwise between D and C, or between C and T, or between T and N, or at the last. See how many places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 factorial. Friends, listen carefully. The vowels are A, I, O, U, E. This can be done as E, I, O, U, A, or there are so many possibilities, and you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this 5 letter can be arranged in 5 factorial ways. So the answer is 5 factorial into 5 factorial. So friends, can you able to understand this concept, right? So if you need any other example, okay, let me go for another example, right? Optical. Okay, assume that the word optical is given. We need to frame vowel should always comes together, right? Okay, first of all you should see how many vowels are there. So I can say that A, I, O. There are 3 vowels, so place A, I, O inside the bracket at the right hand side. Write the remaining letters, that is P, T, C and L. How many places are there to place this A phones? Once. So either we can place at the front, or otherwise between P and T, or between T and C, or between C and L, or at the last. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 factorial. So we know that there are 3 vowels. This 3 vowels can be done as A, I, O or I, A, O. So this can be done as 3 factorial. So the final answer is 5 factorial into 3 factorial. So friends, listen carefully. We have wrote many examples, right? In this example, where we can say that it is a non-repeated letters concept, right? Why? Because in the lesson number 1 itself we have already seen what is called as non-repeated letters and what is called as repeated letters. Here this complete question we have made over 4 or 5 examples. In this 4 or 5 example, you can see none of the letter is repeated again, right? If it is a machine, see friends, A is only one time, I is only one time, H is one time, M is one time. So friends, let me move on to the second examples if there are repeated letters in the given question. So friends, let me move on to some other examples where in this example the letters are repeated. In the previous case it is a non-repeated letters, but in this case it is a repeated letters. But the question is same, right? How many ways the word can be arranged? The vowel should always comes together, right? Okay, let me take example number 1. They have given a word sister and we need to see how many ways the word sister can be arranged, but all the vowels should always comes together, right? So friends, step number 1, always see how many vowels are there and place inside a bracket at the right hand side. So friends, I can say that I and E are vowels. So place I and E inside a bracket and at the right hand side. Write the remaining letters, that is S, S, T, R. We can place I and E at the front, or otherwise between double S, or between S and T, or between T and R at the last. See how many places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5 places, 5 factorial, and this I and E can be done as E and I also, so into 2 factorial. Friends, in the previous case there is no repeated letters, but in this case where we can find 2 S's repeated, according to lesson number 1, you know that divided by 2 factorial. This 2 factorial is for 2 S repeated. I hope you have watched the lesson number 1 so that you can able to understand this concept clearly, right? Let me move on to question number 2. How many ways the word animation can be framed so that the vowel should always comes together? See how many vowels are there. A, I, again A, I, O, right? Just write all the vowels, friends. A, I, O. So these are the vowels in the given question, and write the remaining letters, that is M, N, M, T and M, right? So friends, listen carefully. We can place all the vowels at the front or between M and N or between M and T or between T and N or at the last. Just see how many places are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 factorial. Friends, most important question. 5 factorial. And see how many vowels are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This 5 letter can be written as 5 factorial ways. So into 5 factorial. Now check how many letters are repeated. Friends, here 2 times n is repeated. So divided by 2 factorial. Here 2 times a is repeated, 2 factorial, and here 2 times I is repeated, 2 factorial. So finally the answer is 5 factorial into 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 2 factorial, 2 factorial, right? Okay. Let me move on to question number 3, preparation. So friends, similarly just see what are all the vowels in the given question, right? So I can say that E, A, I, O. Step number 1, friends, always write the vowel in the right hand side inside the brackets. So this can be done as E, A, I, O, right? And write the remaining letters, that is P, R, T, N. So friends, we can write all the vowels in the front or at the last or between every letters, right? So I can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 factorial into, so vowels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So into 5 factorial. Just see what all the letters are repeated, friends. See, listen carefully, friends. 2 times P is repeated and 2 times R is repeated. So 2 factorial, 2 factorial. And here 2 times A is repeated, 2 factorial. So finally we can say the answer is 7 factorial into 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial, 2 factorial, 2 factorial. So let me move on to the last example. The word corporation is given. We need to frame how many ways the word corporation can be arranged so that the vowel should always comes together, right? See how many vowels are there. O, A, I, O, right? So step number 1, always write the vowels inside the brackets at the right hand side. So O, A, I, O. So write the remaining letters, that is C, R, P, R, T, N. So friends, we can place all the vowels at the front or at the last between every letters, right? So count how many are there, right? How many places are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 factorial into, and how many vowels are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So into 5 factorial divided by, check how many letters are repeated, friends. 2 times R is repeated, so 2 factorial, and here 3 times O is repeated into 3 factorial. So finally the answer for the given question, that is 7 factorial into 5 factorial divided by 2 factorial into 3 factorial. So friends, let me move on to the second category, that is the consonants always comes together. So let me move on to some of the example questions similarly and see if the question is consonant always comes together, what is the trick to apply here. Let me move on to the second category, that is consonants always comes together. Friends, assume that they have given a word judge, banker, corporation and sister, and they are asking that how many ways the word can be arranged so that the consonant should always comes together. In the previous case where the vowels always comes together, but in this case consonants always comes together. Friends, listen carefully. In the previous case, what is our initial step? First of all, we have seen how many vowels are there in a given question, because that concept is called vowel should always comes together. But here the concept is consonants always comes together. So in the given question, just see how many consonants are there. I can say that J, D, G is a consonant. In the previous case where we pick all the vowels and place inside the bracket at the right hand side, but here it is the concept called consonants always comes together. Similarly, just pick all the consonant and place inside the bracket at the right hand side. The remaining are U and E. Similarly, you can place all the consonant at the front are at the last between U and E. So I can say that 1, 2, 3. 3 places we can place, that is 3 factorial ways. And this JDG can be written as GDJ. So this can be written as 3 factorial times. The answer is 3 factorial into 3 factorial. Check whether any letter is repeated. No, no letter is repeated. So I can say that the answer is 3 factorial into 3 factorial. So let me move on to question number 2. How many ways the word banker can be arranged so that the consonants always comes together? Step number 1, just pick all the consonant and place inside the bracket at the right hand side. So I can say that B, N, K, R. These are the consonants. So place B, N, K, R inside the bracket and write the remaining letters, that is A and E. Just see how many spaces are there. Either B, N, K, R. All the consonants can be placed at the front or at the last or between A and E. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 places, that is 3 factorial. And how many consonants are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 consonants, that is 4 factorial. So finally the answer is 3 factorial into 4 factorial. So after writing this equation, just see whether any letter is repeated or not. No letter is repeated. So the answer is 3 factorial into 4 factorial. So let me move on to the third example, that is corporation, right? Similarly, consonants always comes together. So friends, C is a R, P, R, T, N. So these are the consonants. So first of all, write all the consonants inside the bracket at the right hand side. So C, R, P, R, T, N, right? So place the remaining vowels here, that is 0, O, O, A, I, O. Just see how many places are there. Either we can place all the consonants in the front or at the last or between every letters, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 places, that is 6 factorial. And how many consonants are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So into 6 factorial. Friends, listen carefully. Check whether any letter is repeated. See here friends, 3 times O is repeated. So divided by 3 factorial. And here 2 times R is repeated. So into 2 factorial. So finally we can say the answer as 6 factorial into 6 factorial divided by 3 factorial into 2 factorial. So let me move on to the last example, that is sister. So how many ways the word sister can be arranged so that the consonant should always comes together? See what all the consonants are there. S, S, T and R. So S, S, T and R. Place inside the bracket at the right hand side and write the remaining letters, that is I and E. So friends, we can place all the consonants at the front or otherwise at the last or between I and E. See how many places are there? 1, 2, 3. So 3 places, 3 factorial ways we can arrange this. And there are 4 consonants. So this 4 consonant can be arranged in 4 factorial ways. Check whether any letter is repeated. 2 times S is repeated. So divided by 2 factorial. I hope this method is so easy. So the final answer is 3 factorial into 4 factorial divided by 2 factorial. So friends, let me move on to some of the exceptional case on these types of questions. Let me move on to the third category, and this is also a possibility. They can ask a question like this, right? Listen carefully friends. How many ways the word crystal can be arranged so that A and Y always comes together? In the first case we have seen vowels comes together. In the second case we have seen consonants comes together. But in this case they will give you some word, education, sister or anything, and they will give a certain letters and that should come together, right? See friends, how many ways the word education can be arranged so that U, E, T comes together? Friends, not to worry about it. Same procedure, right? If it is a vowels always comes together, step number 1, we need to see how many vowels are there in a given word and we need to pick all the vowels and place it inside a bracket at the right hand side. Similarly, apply the same logic here. Crystal, and they are saying that A and Y comes together. First of all, just pick A and Y and place it inside a bracket at the right hand side. Write the remaining letters, that is C, R, S, T, L. So these are the remaining letters. We can place this A and Y in the front or at the last, same concept friends, or at between every letters, right? So I can say that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 places to place this A and Y, 6 factorial ways, and you know that this A and Y can be written as Y and A, so 2 factorial. So the final answer is 6 factorial into 2 factorial. Check whether any letter is repeated. No, none of the letter is repeated. So finally we can say that the answer is 6 factorial into 2 factorial. So second example, the word education. So how many ways the word education can be arranged so that U-E-T should always comes together? So friends, similarly you need to write U-E-T inside the bracket at the right hand side and write the remaining letters, means U, E and T, right? So write the remaining letters, that is D, C, A, T, sorry we have already done T. So A and I and O and N, right? So D, C, A, I, O, N. We can place U, E, T at the front or otherwise at the last or between every letters, right? So just see how many places are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 places are there. So we can place this U, E, T in a 7 factorial ways. So 7 factorial into where this U, E, T can be done as T, U, E or E, U, T. So this can be arranged in 3 factorial ways. Check whether any letter is repeated. No. So the final answer is 7 factorial into 3 factorial. If letter is repeated, so similarly divided by factorial, right? So friends, this lesson number 2 we have learned how to find vowels always comes together, consonants always comes together, and some letters, in the some of the letters they have given in the question that 2 comes together. So friends, if vowels comes together, our only target to pick the vowels and place it inside a bracket at the right hand side. If consonants comes together, just see how many consonants are there in a given question and pick all the consonant and place it inside a bracket at the right hand side. So friends, the third concept is they used to give some of the letters and we need to frame the word according to the given condition. So friends, just go and learn lesson number 3. Why? Because lesson number 2, lesson number 3, lesson number 4 and 5 are most important for all the competitive exams.